If you own a 2014 Mustang and want something unique, want something different, want something stylish that no one else has, this is the video for you. You are going to be learning how to create and build your own LED fog lights on your 2014 Mustang. And if you are nervous about this and you don't feel mechanically inclined, don't you worry, because neither was I at one point. But you know what? With experience and knowledge and the things you're going to be learning out of this video, I think you'll have no problem being able to do this to your own Mustang or any other car that you have any really cool, crazy ideas for. Starting off by using these plastic trim covers and putting LED lights here at the bottom. And if you don't know what these are actually the trim covers that go right there and also right there. And you want to make sure you get yourself some outdoor LED lights. You can choose between the black outside look, or you can go with the white. And in this case, I do have the white one. The black one, for example, will look more something like this. So it just depends on whatever your preference is, but in this video, we're going to be using the white one. Now, with that being said, you're also going to need some wire as well. These wire strippers are important to have because you need to make sure that you need to strip the wire so you can solder this onto the LED strip. And if you don't have this, you could also use scissors, but using scissors comes with risk because you tend to cut through the wire and it just makes it a lot more difficult. But if you're really skilled, unlike me, then you can make that happen. The most important piece of this is having the soldering system. You want to make sure you have the solder, you want to make sure you have the cleaner to make sure that that shit's actually going to stick, and then obviously in this bag is the soldering gun. And last but not least, you are going to need a drill and a drill bit in order to drill into this plastic cover, because with this plastic cover, you'll notice there's this little gap that runs across the top, and unfortunately, that hole is not big enough. You're going to need to drill a bigger one so you can fish all the wires through once you have these LEDs attached. And once you have those LEDs attached, you want to make sure that everything is heat shrinked and also with a little heat source in order for all those to stay nice, tight, and secure so they don't come loose. But for those to all work, super glue is important because the super glue is able to stick to this surface right here. I babble a lot. I'm sorry. It's just who I am. It is what it is. But you know what? Now it's time for the actual video. Important thing to take note of is I scraped off this silicone rubber gunk shit that's on here to protect the lights from getting corroded. And at the end right here, you'll see these two little silver circles. Right there, that's where we're going to be attaching the wire, and we needed to rip that off in order to gain access to that, because if we just would have leave this on top of it, there was no way there would have been contact with the wire. So that's why we ended up cutting that and exposing it so we could solder the wire to the LED strip. Now that we tested it with the battery to ensure that these LED lights work, next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the red wire, and we're going to attach to the positive on this end and the negative wire here and attach it onto the other end. The reason why we're going to go ahead and do that is because we want both of these lights to work at the exact same time. Now the other important piece of this puzzle is ensuring that we have enough wire to attach to where we want to put it. There's a variety of different ways you can go ahead and install these LED lights on your car. One of them being is attaching it to your battery and going ahead and attaching it to a switch. Now that is an easy way of doing it, but there is an easier way of doing it. And the easiest way I found about doing it, instead of having to run wire all the way to the battery, then make a switch and run it all the way to the cockpit of the car, is by attaching it to the side marker lights on each part of the bumper. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because, one, when you go ahead and turn the switch over on your headlights, those are already activated. So you don't have to worry about installing a switch because that's already connected to the side marker lights. On top of that as well, if you go ahead and do that, those will always be on no matter what you do. So if you go ahead and install that to that switch, it only works when you turn your headlight switch on. So if you turn on your parking lamp on, those will turn on. If you turn on your headlights, those will turn on as well. Those will not turn on though when you go ahead and use your high beams, because if you're using your high beams, that's a whole different switch because you're pulling the lever over near your steering wheel. And what's nice about installing these LED lights to the side marker light is the fact that it's so close to each other that it doesn't require a lot of wire. All you're doing is connecting one wire to the next wire. It's simple as that. So to determine how much wire you're going to use is very simple. We know that we have the LEDs we're going to be installing sitting right in this section, and right next to it is our neighbor side marker light. We understand that this is going to be where the side marker light wires are going to be feeding through because it's closer to the side marker light. That's where the hole is going to be drilled, and we know that if we're going to be starting it from here, for example, and working our way to the middle of the light, which it doesn't have to be the middle, but we're just going to use this as a reference point, we know that this is how much we're probably going to be using. In case we mess up, we're going to give ourselves a little bit more slack, and we know this is how much we're probably going to need overall. Next up, lo and behold, we are going to be using that extended wire that we showed on the car a little bit ago, and we're going to be attaching it to the positive and the negative. That's why it's important to use this battery to know where your positive and negatives are, because when you have let me just show you guys. When you have 4 wires originally just hanging off, you kind of start getting confused a little bit unless you really know your pattern with the positive and negatives and colors and bullshit like that. With me, I messed up, so it was important that I just made double sure that everything looks right. But now that you made 4 wires go into 2 wires and you have 2 prongs on here, it makes it a lot easier. All you got to do is tap it.
And the lights don't turn on.
There it goes. They turn on. Same goes with this. Now we know that our reds are positive and our black is our negative. We attach those, now we have the extended wire, and that can go ahead and attach to your side marker lights. And now we are finally down to installing them on the plastic trim. A lot of steps you have to go through just to go ahead and put these things on, but it is necessary in order to make this right. And for those of you guys that know, these LED strips
Suck.
Now, I don't mean suck by when they light up. I mean that the back side of it, and you can kind of already see it as is, the 2-sided tape on here is awful. Anybody who's ever bought these in the past knows damn well you cannot use that. We're going to use it to our advantage though, because we are going to use the adhesive on the backside, but we're also going to be using super glue as well. I end up doing that on my car too, because with the super glue, it seems to be holding up the best out of the other options I've chosen, which is using black light glue and double-sided tape. And you know what, hot glue, this was the best option. The method I like to attack when doing these lights is I like to add a bunch of clamps on one strip at a time, because if you do 2 lights at the same time, then the issue you run into is that one wants to lift up, the other one wants to fall down, then the other one wants to lift up. This circus shit that you don't want to do. So doing it one at a time, letting this one dry for about a few minutes, then jumping onto the other one will ensure that both of them will stay in place. And to bring you guys over to my laboratory, we're just gonna double check, just a triple check, quadruple check. We're gonna just keep checking just to make sure that these work, because the last thing I want to do is for these to not work. And off camera, I actually decided to go ahead and just take everything apart, because I wasn't thrilled with the idea that the black wire and the red wire were mismatched. Even though I knew it, if someone else was to have it, the last thing I'd want them to do was have to experience that for themselves, get confused and have to fix everything up. So I went back, took everything apart, redid it again just to make sure everything was good. And to show you guys, and hopefully I could put the camera up somewhere. So I'm gonna put the red wire first to the positive and then to the negative, the black wire. And as you can see, it lights up. First and foremost, I do wanna say that these look absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, I tell you, gorgeous. And unfortunately, these are not going on my Mustang. They're going on somebody else's Mustang, but I'm happy to do this because it got me right back into wanting to build shit again. Let's just put it that way. I like doing this stuff. I have fun doing it. It just takes a little bit of time, elbow grease, effort, you know, the whole cliche saying Logans that everyone says, like, oh, if you grind hard, you work hard. Shut up, brah. I think any of you guys could do this if you guys just have the proper tools. I can't emphasize that enough. Have the proper shit. 'Cause if you don't have it, then it's not going to work up to its full potential. You don't want to deal with that. Make sure everything is secure and solid. And with how these turned out, I will say that the one issue that you are going to run into when you do have these hooked up on your car, and the issue that you run into is oxidation. There's no other way around it. You probably have seen these in other LED lights or lights that you've used in the past. And what happens is that they look nice, glossy, icy, and beautiful. Problem is, though, is that when they're on all the time and it's out in the elements like the sun, then they start turning yellow over time. Not quickly, but just over time. And I will say you could probably get like a year or two before these things start crapping out on you. And no, I've never had a light die out on me, but I've definitely had these things turn yellow. And my ingredient to fix that issue, though, on the other hand, is by using acetone. And I say use this sparingly, I mean use it sparingly, because this is something that could really damage these lights if you do it wrong. And I know that because these drawers over here, I spilled acetone and it got them stuck. And if that's plastic and this is plastic, I'm assuming it's going to probably do the same shit. It's probably going to get something in here that's all fucked up that you don't want to deal with. Another headache that you don't want to have to go through and try to fix, and you guys get the point. If you use the acetone on it, you're able to get some of that oxidation off the top layer. Not all of it, but for the most part, it will clean up the lights and make them look a lot better because over time, they will start yellowing. And that's the unfortunate part, and there's no other way around it. That is not a permanent fix. It eventually will come back, and it is not going to make it all icy and new again. It just cleans it up a little bit more. Now, if you really want a true, genuine, good job done, you're going to have to just replace the lights. I've gone through multiple sets of lights, and unfortunately, every set of lights that I've gone through have done this same thing. Considering these lights are on all the time, and they are out in the elements, you are going to experience these things. They are not perfect, but they are definitely a nice staple to have on the front of your Mustang that you have not seen on any other Mustang before. And I know that because I haven't seen it on any other Mustang, and I'm not trying to even brag about it either. I'm just saying, though, that I get a lot of questions about it, and if I'm getting a lot of questions about it, it's probably because people cannot find them or they don't know about them up until now. Then show me stuff on Instagram. Send it to me. I would love to see it when it's in its final shape and its form. But on the other hand, though, if you don't know how to build it or you don't want to build it, you know someone who does. If you would like more information about this or have a better way of doing it, leave it down in the comment section down below. Let your voice be heard in the community. That's what we're all here for. Help each other out, not to put each other down. I see that way too often and I fucking hate it. And I just want to say thank you guys all so much for watching.